Alright, hello YouTube, this is Dusty War. This is going to be my very first tabletop review. I don't do a whole lot of these. I leave it to the experts on YouTube. Nothing fancy and, you know, all those big name guys out there. But anyways, I wanted to give a little rundown. This is something I have not seen yet. And there may be a few people out there kind of curious about this, and I was actually looking for a video similar to what I'm going to talk about today and really couldn't find anything. So I wanted to talk about what I've done. I'll give you a little background. I've always wanted a MP5 or MP9, whatever they are, little submachine guns you see in the video games. I always thought they were a really cool platform, something that I, if I could ever, have the extra money laying around, I'd like to buy. I just knew they were kind of expensive. I knew I was never going to get one full auto, obviously. It was just something, more of a novelty, I guess. So I went in and got all my primary weapons bought, and then I guess I got to the point in my collection where I decided to go out and buy something kind of crazy. So I ended up buying the Evo, the CZ Scorpion Evo 3 S1, commonly known as a Scorpion. It's a 9mm calibered pistol. This is an aftermarket, what they call a blade that I bought for the pistol. This pistol, when you buy it, comes with just basically a metal cap that clicks right onto the rear end of the pistol. You push a button, you slide it up, cap comes off, and I guess if you were to go out and get the tax stamp, you can actually put a regular buttstock on this and make it an SBR, a short barrel rifle. But obviously you'd have to have all the legal tax stamps and whatnot to do that. So my option was, until I go out and do that, which I'm eventually going to do probably for this, is to buy the blade. It helps you kind of steady the gun. You are not allowed to shoulder this. There's plenty of videos on YouTube that you can find of guys talking about what's legal and what's not legal. This comes with some paperwork referring to the ATF, saying that this has been approved, this design is approved to mount on this pistol, and it's still not going to be considered a short barrel rifle. So it's the only way I could say it's a brace. It's an arm brace. So when you shoot this, you're bracing this against your forearm, and it'll steady the gun. And it does a good job, because it's a whole lot of gun to have, especially when you have a magazine in here. Let me go ahead and talk about that real quick. I broke the YouTube cardinal rule. I did not show all the little trolls out there that the gun is unloaded. Right now I have the slide back in the locked position. Magazines are out. I don't have any empty magazines right now, and I didn't feel like unloading any of these magazines. So for safety purposes, I will not be putting any magazines in this gun. But yeah, I just wanted to point that out. The gun is unloaded, slide is back, and it's on safety. So back to the gun itself. On this platform here, I'm actually running and I had the box around here somewhere and I do not know where it went. It's a Black Spider Optics, I believe is what it's called. And I should have it pulled up here on my phone. Let's see. And as you can tell, this is my first YouTube video. So anyways, I believe they're Black Spider Optics. This is a TLR 2S laser light combo with the strobe function. So that's what the little S stands for on this one here. I used to have this on my 45 pistol, but it just seemed a little too bulky. With that laser option on there, it was too much, I thought, for the laser. But for this here, the bulkiness doesn't really bother me. It's, you know, out of the way. I'm not going to really worry about this extra inch when it comes to this platform here. And it's pretty cool. Just to give you a little rundown on that, you have the laser option, just light without the laser option. I don't know if you guys can see that. And then you could actually put the laser with the light. And then with the double click of the thumb, you can do the strobe. So it gives you a lot of options. It's one of their high-end lasers I bought when I had some money to play with. But definitely a luxury, but on this setup, after practicing, I think you almost need this for the application I'm going to be using it for, which is, you know, I'm not going to be shooting someone out at 500 or 300 or even 100 yards with this thing. This is going to be for in the house, really. As you can see, these magazines, which are two 20-round magazines, are loaded with hollow point ammo. So I have this gun ready to go for close quarters scenarios. Carry this if I go out of town. I'm going on a long trip. This sucker's going with me. And like I said, I'm carrying it 40 rounds, loaded up with 40 rounds, coupled together. This is one of the 30-round magazines. And, you know, you can see, like I said, I'm going to get to this in just a minute, but you can see that that's your 30-round mag. That's your 20-round mag, so it's quite a bit of difference. But I prefer the two 20-round mags. It just makes it a little bit more compact. And 40 rounds, I think you're going to be able to get the job done. If something happens after 40 rounds, you know, the bad guy should be dead, or you should have been able to put enough space between you and him to figure out what your next plan of action is going to be. So these couplers I got from Midway USA. I believe they're out of stock right now, but they're pretty cheap. You have to find them online, Midway USA, and they work great. They're kind of, you know, they're poly whatever the hell the plastic is, but I mean, they seem good enough. As long as I don't throw them across a room or something, they should hold up. It's actually, they're made, you get a pack of 2, so it's made for coupling 2 of the 30-round mags. But I found that as long as I put that coupler a little bit lower than the midway point on these 30-round mags, it opens it up a little bit wider up top. And I threw some tape on there just to help reinforce the plastic coupler. And I mean, that's solid. And I got basically 2 for the price of 1 now, I guess you could say. So this is just ball 9mm ammo that if I go to the shooting range, this is what I would take with me. But yeah, this has become my favorite pistol. It's my favorite gun. But the problem is, and the reason I wanted to make this video is when I had this, just like all my other guns, I didn't want to go to the shooting range. I just don't like going to the shooting range. I don't have the time to go to the shooting range. And honestly, I don't want to waste the money on ammo. The ammo I have in my magazines, it's there if I need it. Obviously, with the hollow point, I'm not taking that to the shooting range anyways. But, you know, I have some if I need to go. If somebody shows up and, you know, we decide to go to the shooting range, a buddy or something. But it's not something I want to do all the time. It's just not practical, and it's not, you know, it's just not something I can afford to do, to be plain and simple. So what I decided to do, and I thought was a pretty good option, was go out and buy the CZ Scorpion Evo 3A1. Now this is the Airsoft model, which explains the orange tip on here. It's the Airsoft model of this gun here. I did a lot of research on YouTube. There was no videos of these two guns compared side by side, which is why I decided to go ahead and make this video. And I probably got off on a rant on this gun here. I just wanted to talk a little bit about it for the people out there that don't know much about it. But going back to the original thought being, I didn't want to go to the shooting range, so I bought this. Now, this is not cheap. You know, I paid $400 just for the airsoft gun itself. You can find airsoft guns, AR-15s, you know, AK-47s, airsofts, for, you know, $100. They're not all airsoft guns are $400. The deal is from what I'm assuming, is this is a fairly new platform. It's only been out a couple, 2-3 years or something. I could be wrong, but it hasn't been out very long, which means for them to come out with this airsoft model of that, this is a fairly brand new gun. I think they came out with this about a year ago. And you know, the claim to fame was they use the same polymer plastic and all that. I don't believe it's the same. It's I mean, it could be, but this is definitely a different shade of black than the plastic used on this one. I honestly think, I mean, this is built, I mean, it's built like a tank. I mean, as far as plastic guns can be built. But, I mean, the real deal to this, there's an obvious difference in quality. You know, this is kind of a corny little spring. I mean, if you see that spring retention there, on this one here, it takes my whole damn hand just about. This light isn't in the best position, and I didn't really talk about that yet, but I like it there because when I have a magazine in here, I'm typically holding the gun like this, so I can access this light just like that. But back to this here, so I mean, there's an obvious difference when it comes to trying to train with the most realistic platform out there. Obviously, this is going to be as close as you're going to get it, but the finer details, obviously, you know, this is a toy and this is a, you know, a dangerous firearm. I mean, it's a firearm that can be dangerous. So yeah, so this here, I decided, well, you know, I have an acre in the backyard that, you know, it's kind of isolated, kind of away from everybody, and I have a couple little BB guns I shoot out there every now and again. I just shoot cans. But I thought this would be a great way to train. I can do it in my backyard. It would be kind of fun, you know. I don't have to drive to the shooting range. I don't have to spend the money on ammo. It's an expensive investment at the start, you know. I mean, you have $400 investment just for the gun, then you got to buy the battery for the gun, then you got to buy the optics, which I found on Amazon. Some cheap optics. These are about $150. This one here I found on Amazon for $25, maybe $30 on Amazon, and I put them on there. I mounted them. There's no recoil on this gun, obviously, so you know, the optics, once they're on there, you're not going to really have a problem with them losing zero. They're $29.99. They're called MGS Military Gear Optics. You can find them on Amazon if you're interested. Great optics. I haven't had an issue with them for $30. I'm not going to complain. And it's a similar platform. You know, they both have a little riser on them. So when you're shooting this, my goal was to make this as close to the real thing as possible. I even at nighttime when I do practice with the airsoft, I'll take this off, put it on here, and the specs on these are so close together that I can literally hit, you know, I've never had to adjust this. I've taken this to the shooting range, adjusted the laser for about 15-20 yards out. When I put it on here, I can hit a beer can at the same distance. So that just tells you how close these guns are as far as the build and the quality of them. So yeah, that's about it. Like I said, I don't really want to get into the details of either gun. I just wanted to kind of explain the similarities between them and kind of just point out that if you have this CZ Scorpion 9mm and you're looking for a way to train without going to the shooting range and to train a little bit more tactical, because that's what this gun would be used for, obviously, is more of a tactical scenario. There is another option. You know, you don't have to go to the shooting range and sit inside of a box and shoot at a piece of paper. You can go out, buy one of these suckers, you know, and you get the added benefit of having single round, 3-round burst, and fully auto, which is a heck of a lot of fun in the backyard. And you know, it's literally like shooting the same gun. It's a little bit lighter than the actual gun. It's a little bit lighter. I'd say by a couple pounds probably. And I guess in the big picture it's a lot lighter if you considering the actual weight of the guns. But for training purposes, it's great. Perfect example is I was shooting in the backyard, and I wanted to try, shooting from the left shoulder. I took this out, and the reason I decided to do this, to give you a little story, is I took this out to play at a local Airsoft indoor arena, and I found out real quick one of my weaknesses was trying to shoot from the left shoulder. So looking out of a doorway, looking up to my right, I was having a real hard time. I ended up just using a laser for that type of situation, which worked as well. But I think for tactical training, what I decided to do is when I got back home, I went out to my little beer can shooting range, and I just practiced opening both eyes, looking down the sights with my left eye. And believe it or not, I found after practicing for about 10-15 minutes, I just had like an oh shit moment. And I can now shoot just as proficient with my left shoulder, or shooting from my left shoulder. I can shoot just about as good as, if not better maybe, than shooting from my right now. I mean, it's just, I have both eyes open and I can see that laser and it's just dead on. I put that laser where I want the BB to go and it goes. So that's just an example of, one of the benefits of having an airsoft gun and having the ability to play in the backyard and not have to worry about shooting a neighbor. One of the added benefits you have, as opposed to just having this gun going out to the shooting range. You don't really want to do anything too far out of the ordinary at the shooting range. So I think that's a perfect example of why I decided to go ahead and buy this. Anyways, if you have any questions or comments, just comment below. I know how all this works. I'm going to have a couple trolls out there wanting to talk shit about me not being safe with the gun and sweeping my dogs. Whatever, dude. Leave your comments below too. I like to read those as well. So if you guys have any questions, just hit me up. Otherwise, I hope this wasn't too horrible a video. I kept trying to tell myself not to move my head too much. I have these pivot head glasses on, and I forget that my head is probably constantly moving as I'm talking to you guys recording this video. So I apologize for that. All right, well, I'll talk to you guys later. I appreciate your time. Bye.